It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
Actually, you'll find there's a big hole in proceedings this afternoon because the Big Hass is not with us tonight. It's Anna Schofield on her own, keeping the show afloat, one hopes, through till 8 o'clock. Nice having you with me, and of course I need you. So 4215, that number has never been more important. If you want to comment on anything throughout the show tonight, I will eat your comments up. I will say hello to you. I'll even chat to you on air if you let me. So 4215, keep it on speed dial, because without someone to play with, it's just not as fun. And so you are going to need to be my co-hosts. Things that we're going to be chatting about tonight on the show. COVID-19, obviously, let's talk about the local updates. I will have to find a way to go and get my own local updates. Normally, I leave that to the big guy. We're also going to do a flick through today's world headlines. There's some funny old things going on out there. 2020 is at it again. We've also got the safety measures that they've released for UAE school buses. It's been revealed, of course, the children are going back to school in a week and a bit's time. That's if you're allowing them to. Some parents are obviously opting for the online, but some parents, like me, will literally be at the bus stop half an hour early. Even if they get a couple of weeks under their belt, it would be good for them, but we'll discuss it in full. Matrix 4, the filming has started. If you're a fan of Matrix 4, Keanu Reeves has come out praising the various protocols that they've had to take, obviously, for filming. How do you social distance on a set when you're actors who are probably acting together, especially in an action movie where everyone's hiding behind stuff closely? What are they doing? Just filming one actor at a time? I don't know. We'll have to have a look. We've also got news on The Crown, which I love. Princess Diana seems to be bobbing about in the news. She's trending a lot. There's a musical called Diana. I'm not sure whether I agree with that or not. But The Crown, obviously a big series, watched by all nations, not just the UK. And they've announced the actress that's going to play Princess Diana in the next two series. That's very exciting. Lastly, Google has launched new tools to help users with traveling during the pandemic. We're going to get a whole new load of features on our phones that will tell us who's got COVID-19, who's in the vicinity, who hasn't, where we can go, how our travel plans have changed. It's going to be amazing, and it's all on our tablet and phone. So stand back, 4215 again if you want to chat. I'm here for you. It'll be lovely to have you with me. Keep it here at Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
But just Anna Schofield tonight, keeping you company on Yalla Home right through till 8 p.m. tonight, totally live, 4215 if you want to join in. As we always do now, since lockdown, we always start the show with a brief flick around the globe, but also we start with a UAE report. As you know, the UAE reports all its new cases daily. Amazing, really. And they seem to fluctuate at the moment between sort of 180 new cases to 250. It's somewhere between there. And we always get excited when it's 100 and something. And always get sad if it's nearer the 300 mark. I've only got yesterday's so far. They haven't released today's yet. So 229. So Big House reported that yesterday. We had 229 new cases yesterday from 71,322 tests. When you say it like that, it's a lot, isn't it? Flicking around the globe, all sorts of things are occurring. One of them is that the UK is causing controversy in global press just because it's decided to outlay a new quarantine practice, but also it's creating a list of countries that are you have to quarantine if you visited them. Now, the problem is that lots of people went on holiday, adopting social measures, but were told it was okay to go on holiday. Now they're in those countries, and of course, the government is implementing new quarantine rules from a quarantine list. So they're getting home and having to quarantine, which can mean missing 2 weeks of work, can mean missing seeing family, all sorts of things. So, the UK is once again sort of infighting. It does it a lot. But all I hear is the government looking after the people, really. Croatia, Greece and Turkey look to join the new quarantine list from the UK. And it is having rippling effects whenever the UK announces new countries. Obviously, economy-wise, those countries go, oh no. I know also that some of the Greek islands from the Cyclades, Mykonos, it has 2 million people every year visit it. And it's absolutely beautiful. they've started closing the restaurants and things at midnight. That's unheard of in Greece. They go right through till 6 a.m. So all those people who have gone there on holiday are now having to go home at 12. And I think that's been quite a wake-up call as well. We've got various airlines saying that are going to cut capacity by 20% because restrictions are tightening. And then we've got random stuff. Death Valley has recorded the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth today. So I'll talk about that later on in the show. Death Valley. Yeah. Unbelievable. Global warming also happening, as well as a pandemic. There's some really amusing, I'm saying amusing, but it's obviously, it's whether you want to laugh at that sort of stuff. We've got footage of Melanie Trump refusing to hold Donald Trump's hand. They're in front of the press and he reaches out to her. And I think we've all done it if we're cross with our husband. Everyone's done that. Get off. Anyway, she did it. She just happened to do it in public in front of TV screens, which is now making world press. I don't think she likes him very much. And lastly, we have a story today. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. A Lego piece falls from a little boy's nose and has been stuck up there for 2 whole years. Yep, that's Yalla Home for you people. Anna Schofield, live through till 8 o'clock. It's Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
and Big Hass.
It's not actually, it's just Anna Schofield tonight. Big Hass is out and about. So if you want to talk to me, I'd love to hear from you. 4215. I always get people who'd like to chat, but no one wants to come on air. Remember, you can. We'd love to have you. Come and chat, even if we do a Zoom. All right, let's talk about something that's very dear to every parent's heart at the moment. The UAE schools returning. I think even if you don't have children, you probably have an opinion on this stuff because it is actually going to affect everyone. And I know in the UK, Boris Johnson, and I've been keeping an eye, obviously, because I am from London, England, but Boris Johnson is so determined that it's essential that the children go back to school. It's such a focus. He said we cannot have this generation not being educated. We cannot have them missing a year of school. And obviously, while learning online was okay, it wasn't great. I think that when we go to online this time, because some parents are obviously opting for online schooling, even though you can go back to school, I think it'll be much more organised. And I'm getting the impression, everyone's been there and done it now. The schools know what we're up against. They know what they're fighting. It's a different vibe. They've also done a term and a half of online learning. So they've learnt what works and what doesn't work, what the parents liked, what the parents didn't like, and what the kids responded to and what they didn't respond to. So that's quite interesting. I do think it will be different this time. But also, one of the things that we've got to watch out for, of course, is the school buses. If you think about how many school buses there are in the UAE, again, whether you have children or not, you will see the school buses on the roads. They'll be part of your vision because they're in your vision. They're all around us. They're on the roads all the time. And there's a fleet of more than 2,500 buses in all the Emirates. More than 80,000 pupils use these buses each day during a regular academic year. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's 80,000 children all going to and fro and backwards and forwards in those yellow school buses. Now, this is obviously as important as the actual classroom facilities because these kids are going to be in close quarters in a vehicle for anything from between, 10 minutes to an hour. My kid's bus journey takes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. That's time enough to pick up COVID-19. So as a result, there are going to be separate measures for buses. And of course, we live in the UAE and they look after us and they protect us. So mandatory safety precautions are going to be in place. Obviously, face masks, temperature checks for every child getting on the bus and, of course, the helpers that are on the bus and the driver. Physical distancing, because some of the measures at school, some of the buses, it'll be easier than others, but they're going to have to do that. And in doing that, they're obviously going to have less kids on each bus, which means more buses on the road. The school transport services on Sunday came out, the UAE's largest school transport company, and said it would ensure that all buses are also sanitised before and after each journey. And looking at the way the UAE actually sanitised the roads, for about 3 months, those guys were out every night sanitising the place. Absolutely incredible when we were all in lockdown. So they've said, look, in these challenging times, there's a renewed focus on the safety aspect of operations, and they've offered this comprehensive list of COVID-19 related safety requirements for all students on the buses. That's what they've said. So the new protocols will be there. The kids will be, poor kids. Can you imagine what stories they're going to tell later on when they're at dinner parties and eating out with their family and friends in years to come? When they're old, when they're really old, and you know when your grandmother tells you a really good story that you can't even quite put together because it's a world you don't know. You know, if you ever sat with your grandparent and asked them, I used to have a grandparent that knew the war and was able to tell me stories of the war and when the planes came over and sleeping in the London Underground and things like that. And when you speak to your grandparent, these children are going to be the ones telling the story of the pandemic, when they had to walk around with a mask on, when they had to wash their hands 20 times a day, when they weren't allowed to hug their friends, they weren't allowed to play properly with their friends, they weren't allowed to, my little girl used to hold hands with her friend all at the time. That's how they walked around. Kids at the moment, they're not allowed to do that, and they're not allowed to touch each other. They're growing up in such a weird, strange time, and who knows how it's going to affect them. We have no idea, and that's going to play out for the next 20 years. So everything we do at the moment, I feel, is like a milestone. And this is one of them. So there we go. Gloves, mask, sanitisation, and not sitting next to your bestie on the bus. That's the reality for our kids when they go back to school in a week and a half. Keep it here. It's Anna Schofield on Yalla Home, and we're Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home
With Anna Schofield.
and Big House.
Just Anna Schofield holding the fort down tonight, live through till 8 o'clock. Hope you're having a nice evening, whatever you're doing. It's so humid out there. When I walked into the Yalla Home studios tonight, actually everyone was talking about the weather, and that just feels such a British thing to do. You know, here it's just like, is it hot or is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. However, we were talking about the weather, and Aisha very rightly said, it's just so humid. Literally, you walk outside. So take care, whatever you're doing, if you're doing anything in the heat. Let's flick over to Matrix 4. We talk about all sorts on Yalla Home. But the filming of Matrix 4 is obviously a big deal, and it's underway, the new filming. Keanu Reeves has come out and absolutely praised everyone. They've put in loads of protocols on set, apparently, for obviously COVID-19 and the safety restrictions. I do wonder how you can kind of film. They're going to have to keep testing the actors, I suppose, the whole way through, in order that they can do scenes where they can be within 2 meters. Otherwise, the film's just going to be really strange and everyone's going to be completely separate. Or they're going to film the actors one by one and then squish them together on screen. I don't know. But anyway, Keanu Reeves is returning as Neo, alongside some new additions. We've got Neil Patrick Harris and friend of Sharjah, because she was interviewed here by Yalla Home, Priyanka Chopra Jonas. And the funny thing is that the news outlets that are reporting it are saying Priyanka Chopra. And I'm like, she hates it when she's called Priyanka Chopra. And when we were with her, anyone, because we were in the bustle of media, I mean, there were cameras all around the poor woman. She was so calm, but the poor girl, like she was being properly jumped on. And it was really lovely because it was in Sharjah. We were ushered through. It felt really great. But honestly, every time a member of the press, and we saw a couple of interviews before we got in there, they said, Priyanka Chopra, she would go, Jonas. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, thank you. She made sure that everyone knew. There was a couple of moments where you go, oh, you've already been told off by the person you're interviewing. That's not good. But she really doesn't like it. So I feel like ringing the reporter. Anyway, filming on the set of the new Matrix film with Priyanka Chopra Jonas is underway in Germany. So they've gone over to Berlin and they've had to adapt to the pandemic. And Keanu Reeves has said, you know, it's so amazing the way the production team has worked to get filming off the ground. It must have been really something. Lots of thoughtful protocols in place, and the rhythm of filmmaking has not really been impacted or interrupted, he said. But that's because of all the hard work in the organisation, lots and lots of thoughtfulness. I like that as a word because I think that that's what we actually have to kind of do at the moment. It's about thinking. And I have to say, I'm not all that much because I keep forgetting my mask. Hands up, careful if you're driving. Hands up who forgets their mask all the time. Honestly, I got out the car today. I had an appointment at lunchtime, got out the car, walked to the venue, got to the door, saw the person at the door in a mask, walked all the way back to the car and got my mask. And that, I probably do that 3 times a day. I don't know what's wrong with me. I do remember it here at Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, funnily enough, when I get out of the car. But I have a certain amount of things. You know, we have such an incredible safety situation going on here. We've had sterilisation pods at the front door for about 2 months, 3 months. So when we walk into this building, we have to have our mask on. We go through a sanitisation pod that puts gear all over us, stuff and smoke and steam and all that kind of stuff. Then our temperature is taken and then we're allowed to go into the building. So I think because of that, I've got a routine, but everywhere else, I'm an absolute loser. So let's try and work harder with that. But they said they're scrappy on set. They want to get stuff done. They're inventive. They're having to think on their feet, and you know, that kind of spirit just coming together. So it sounds like it's added a new vibe to the whole thing of filming, which is quite nice. And he said show business people are the best when it comes to getting things figured out. He said show business people are the best. And I suppose, yeah, they're adaptable. They're actors. They'll be like, okay, let's try this. So we'll keep an eye on it because The Matrix is super. I've only ever seen 1 and 2, double R. Have you seen any more? Have you seen? No. See? That's what I feel has happened to The Matrix. Right, we all need to make a bigger effort to see Matrix 4 because it was filmed within a pandemic. All right, keep it here. It's Yalla Home. Anna Schofield standing in for everyone tonight. No hass. 4215 if you want to chat. Keep it here. We're live through till 8. It's Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
and Big Hass.
Yalla Home with just Anna Schofield tonight. Nice having you with me. 4215 if you want to chat. And I'm live through till 8 o'clock. It's always important to add little stories like this to the show's events. It's actually making global headlines, which you've got to wonder, haven't you, with Beirut going on and things that are going on in India, and then there's a global pandemic, and then you get a headline like this. Piece of Lego falls from boy's nose after being stuck there for 2 years. Wowzers. And as a mum, I immediately go, oh my goodness, you know, if that was my boy. So basically, this is the rub. This is what happened. He's playing. He's 7. Samir from New Zealand. He's in New Zealand playing with Lego, as you do when you're 7. And part of that playing that particular day, he decided he would try a piece up the nose to see if that would enhance whatever he was building. Now, at this point, it got stuck. Sweet little boy. He did decide to tell his parents. He thought, well, I'll give them a heads up. No pun intended. So he said to his mum and his dad actually, I've put some Lego up my nose and it didn't go as well as I thought it was going to. It's not looking good on the hotel I was building. Not loving it. Dad went, yes, rather concerning. Off they went to the doctor. So they went to the doctor. No one could see. So they shone a torch up there, could not see this small piece of Lego. And at this point, the doctor's going, look, I can't see it. You guys can't see it. Samir, how do you feel? Samir's like, I'm kind of all right. And the doctor said to his parents, well, he might not have put it up there. He might have thought maybe he did and then he didn't. You know, kids say the funniest things and all that. And they said, so look, if he did put it up there and if he sniffed it back, and seriously, this is, I hope you're not eating, then it will just go into his digestive sort of system and don't worry, it'll come out. No biggie. Parents went, okay. And the real crux of the matter is that Samir never mentioned it again. Didn't say he was in pain, never said a thing, nothing. Until 2 years later, he's with his grandma and they're having a lovely baking afternoon at the weekend. And grandma said, smell these lovely cupcakes. And Samir went, and did a big sniff and then went, oh, I think I've sniffed some crumbs. Literally, he said that. I think I've sniffed some crumbs or something. And then the grandma says at that moment they both looked and the Lego fell out of his nose. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the story. Thank you. We're nearly at 6 o'clock. Don't try it at home, folks. Anna Schofield live through till 8. It's Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
and Big Hass.
Just Anna Schofield tonight, but it was a bumper crop. I'm going to be doing a lot between now and 8 o'clock, another 2 hours. Stay with us at Yalla Home on Pulse 95 for the music greats in a minute. The Music Grapes. It's a whole new segment in there. Music Greats today is a lady called Bonnie Tyler. Do you know of her? She's a very dear best friend of Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's married to Michael Douglas. And never has there been more of a strange kind of pairing. This because Catherine Zeta-Jones is actually from Wales and they are best buddies. But when she ended up in New York at the Plaza Hotel marrying Michael Douglas and Bonnie Tyler was singing at the wedding, that's when things got really weird. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about one of the greatest songs she ever did, which was Total Eclipse of the Heart. Massive tune. I also want to talk about the Relay for Life, the FOCP Relay for Life, which is taking place here in Sharjah, and it's worth just chatting about. I'm trying to get Hass on it. We're all going to do loads and loads of steps, 8,000 plus, and get millions and millions and raise lots of money for them. And also let's talk about Princess Diana. She's in the news for various reasons. One of them is because there's a musical in Broadway that's been filmed by Netflix, and if you don't know about that, I'll fill you in. But also The Crown, huge series about the royal family that I've noticed lots of nationalities watch. I'll get people coming up saying, do you watch The Crown? And they'll be from a country that I would never have thought is watching The Crown. It's brilliant, by the way. And they've announced the actress that's going to play Princess Diana, because that's the time they've got to in the series. So exciting. So I'll be telling you all about that between now and 7 o'clock. Keep it here at Yalla Home.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
Music's greatest songs. Worth covering. Original classic hitmakers.
If you know about this tune, you'll know that, well, I grew up with it. Like, it was in the house. It was a tune of the moment. It's Bonnie Tyler's biggest hit ever. It's been covered a few times, but they've never done it like Bonnie Tyler. And when you hear the song, it's complete passion. I'm going to give you the background of the song, because once you know the background of the song, and I didn't know the background of the song, and I know it well, but I didn't know that. And then you actually go, oh, okay, it's a completely different spin on it to kind of the song that we know and love, that actually broke records and won Grammys and all that kind of jazz. Let's talk about the artist first, Bonnie Tyler. So she was born Gaynor Hopkins, fact, and that was in 1951. I had no idea. She was Welsh. Her father was a coal miner, and that obviously was a lot in Wales. That was the main income for most people. She's known for her really distinctive husky voice. So if you haven't heard this song before, if this is your first time, you're going to enjoy it. She's properly gruff. She sounds like she's been smoking shisha for like 4 days and then decided to do a number, and it's brilliant. It's such a good sound. She first started 1977. She rose to fame, and she did an album called The World Starts Tonight. And she had a couple of songs. None of them I recognised, none of them I saw, but they all sat in the UK singles chart, and they sat in America on the US Billboard Hot 100. But 1980, she started teaming up with Jim Steinman. Now, the reason she teamed up with Jim Steinman is he was the manager. Do you remember the song that Meat Loaf sung? It's going back some, Bat Out of Hell. If you've heard that, you'll know that it's such a stage song. It's such a big, Meat Loaf used to perform his songs. They were like 8 minutes long, and there was a whole drama to it. Anyway, that was all the brainchild of a producer called Jim Steinman. And Bonnie Tyler had been in the audience. She saw him do it. She saw Meat Loaf do it and went, right, contacted Jim Steinman and said, I want you to be my producer. He invited her to his flat in New York, and she went there, and he said, right, I've got these songs. These are what I'm thinking of. And he played her a couple of songs, and she liked them. Now, unbeknown to her at the time, she said apparently if she'd said, I don't really like them, actually, can we do something else? He wouldn't have accepted her kind of offer to work with her. He'd have gone, no thanks, done. Anyway, he didn't. She didn't. She liked the songs. He was fine with that. They got together. And then they got together with a few people. They're in the studio, and Jim brings, because he's a friend now, Jim brings a couple of songs, and he played them to her, and she was like, yeah, they're okay. And then they sang another one to her called Total Eclipse of the Heart. This is where it gets weird. The song apparently had been written for a vampire performance, and it was some sort of show that was going to be about vampires, and it wasn't called Total Eclipse of the Heart. It was called something like Bite Me Till the End or something, because it was about vampires. That isn't the accurate title. I'm just trying to find the accurate title, because I tell this like stories, so I just absorb all the details. But it was called something really funny. But anyway, they had this song and it wasn't being used, so they changed the line to Total Eclipse of the Heart rather than I'm a Vampire, Bite Me Now. And of course, the song sounded so much better. And so that's what she went with. And then they produced this 8-minute long track. 8 minutes. Absolutely incredible. Now, in between all this going on, she also changed her name because apparently she was really, really worried that she would be mistaken with another Welsh singer. She's a folk singer called Mary Hopkin. So she changed her name to Shireen Davis. I don't know where that fits in. Somewhere along the line, she became obviously Bonnie Tyler, and that's how we know and love her. It was actually, that was when she found the new name. I'm just making sure I get everything in. It's really important to know that she won so many things. She's won Grammy Awards, Brit Awards. She's got other nominations. This single won best-selling single of all time. And I actually have the most incredible stats for you on this song. It was written and produced by Jim Steinman and from her 5th studio album. So she'd already been kicking it for a while before this came out in 1983. And it was released by Columbia Records. Now, this is where it gets good. It topped the UK singles chart. It was the 5th best-selling single in 1983. And this is when people had to buy vinyl. I love doing this because when you give the figures and you know that people had to physically walk into a record shop and stand in a queue and buy a vinyl. Literally, it was like buying socks or something. You had to go in and you had to get it. And the single spent 4 weeks at the top of the charts. It was also a Billboard number 6 song of the year in 1983, nominated for a Grammy Award and for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. And she does sing it to the last breath. Like, she rinses every vocal out of this song ever. There's no one who could actually get any more. When you take the ride on this song, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, you're going to feel it, you're going to live it, she's going to rinse it, and at the end, everyone's tired. And that's what I want you to hear. It's absolutely brilliant. She made masses and masses of money. She sold like 6 million copies of this thing, and it went platinum in 2001. Interestingly, she released an album in 2019. I didn't even know about that. But her 2 big hits were another one and this one, and this is the one I want you to hear. And then I think what we should do is, well, I say the royal we, I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to go and find her 2019 album, listen to some songs, and we can bring it to the show, do it in the music greats, and see if it has any of the power of this song, because I remember this being a big thing in my house. So wherever you are, if you're driving your car, you're going to want to turn it up. If you're at home, again, plug your Mac into the speaker. You want good sound on this. It's Bonnie Tyler, I had to think about that, Total Eclipse of the Heart, on the music greats on Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big House.
No Big House tonight, just Anna Schofield on Yalla Home, but I'm live through till 8 o'clock. Thank you for having me with you, wherever you may be in this hot August. Let's quickly talk about the FOCP Relay for Life Virtual Summer Challenge. It's really important, and it came through yesterday. They released the details for it. It's called the Relay for Life Summer Challenge, and basically we have to do lots of steps. Okay, that's the upshot of this. And this is what they want us to do. Is basically, if we do 8,000 steps every day, we can contribute to achieving the overall goal, very hard to say, lots of A's, 10 million steps. That's what they want to achieve by the end of the event. So if you want to participate, because we talked about it yesterday, and the FOCP is Friends of Cancer Patients. So it couldn't be a more worthy cause, and it's such an easy thing to do. We're all walking around anyway, and actually they want to encourage healthiness. And you notice all the governments, especially Sharjah government's come out with an incentive recently as well. It's all about just being healthy. So if you download the relay by FOCP, there's an application. There's always an app. There's always an app. You can get it at the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Easy. You register and you join the Relay for Life. And then you can do the summer challenge. And once activated, the app will just track the steps for you as a user, and like, it's game over. It's the easiest thing once you got it. It's all in the app, people. But I'm thinking Hass and I are going to do it. So take the FOCP Relay for Life Virtual Summer Challenge and stay healthy and support cancer patients in need. Like, it's a win-win-win. You heard it here first at Yalla Home. It's 27 minutes past 6. Hope you're having a nice one. Anna Schofield with Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
with Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
No, you can stop at Anna Schofield. Big Hass is not here tonight. He's left me alone. I will never forgive him. Yalla Home live through till 8 o'clock tonight. 9-7 you with me, whatever you're doing, where'er you be. That's what they say in Scotland. I want to talk about The Crown. Now, The Crown is a series on Netflix. Everybody watches it. Well, lots of people do anyway. It is about, obviously, the royal family, the British royal family, which has always provided a lot of kind of gossip and crescendo and OMG, I think, for the whole world. I mean, the things that have gone on with the British royal family forever. If you think of the debacle of Meghan Markle coming into the royal family as an American, and different culture and everything like that, the furor that there was around it and the chatter and the debate. And of course, Princess Diana, let's not even go there, except let's go there because they've just announced the next series of The Crown is going to be covering the 90s, and then the next one will go up to the 2000s. Now that is a very famous ladies era. It will be Princess Diana. So of course they needed to get an actress to play Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, in the final 2 seasons. I'm a bit narked by it, and if Hass were here, in fact tomorrow I'm going to rinse Hass over it. I think that's only fair. They've cast an Australian actress. Now, I'm not doubting that she's a great actress. Elizabeth Debicki. Apparently we know her from The Guardian, not the newspaper. I'm just saying that to the Brits, the film. And we know her from something else, The Night Manager. But I'm here going, really? There wasn't a British actress that could play her that is as good as this Australian actress and as famous as this Australian actress. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. The actors and the actresses that come out of the UK are nothing short of amazing, and loads of them go to America and work in Hollywood. So why have we got an Australian actress playing Princess Diana? She's got to be the most English Rose that ever was ever. I mean, it's the most British English thing, and I say English because she wasn't even Scottish or Irish. It would be just as stupid if they'd cast an Irish person or a Welsh person or a Scottish person in this role. They needed to cast a very English Rose. So I am a bit, really, when I read the news. And this is not to say that Elizabeth Debicki isn't a good actress. I'm sure she is, but she's Australian. They don't do Barbies in The Crown, as in barbecue. So anyway, she will be joining Jonathan Pryce, who has been signed up to play Prince Philip. He's going to be the next one. Imelda Staunton, you see, good old, true British accent actress. She'll be amazing as the Queen. And they've had to do an extra season, apparently, to cover the 90s because so much went on. You see, who needs TV and film when you've got the British royal family? They supply all the drama anyone needs. But the actress, Elizabeth Debicki, has come out and said Princess Diana's spirit, her words and her actions live in the hearts of so many. Now, I want to say, how do you know? A, you're in Australia, and B, you're very young. However, thank you for that. Thank you. I just think that if there was a film about, and Hass has talked about this, imagine a Saudi Arabian movie being made, and then they cast a British person to play the lead Arab. Can you imagine the absolute, furor that there'd be? Everyone would be up in arms. And I'm just wondering what the play was here and why. I don't understand. So I'm going to look for more kind of discussion about this, because I'm sure someone else bar me must be going, this is an outrage. But I mean, very exciting for any actress that gets it. Right, she's been in The Great Gatsby, this actress, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm not a fan, so I don't know her. And I'm not saying she's not a good actress. I just think they should have got a homegrown for this one, and they're a bit off the mark. However, will it stop me watching? No, it won't, because it's a brilliant series. So tune in. They reckon it will be out the end of this year. They're going to start filming soon. Brace for a lot of war of words between Hass and I when I get him back here tomorrow, because I need to shout at someone about it, and he is the man for the job. Okay, it's 20 to 7. Nice having you with me. Yalla Home, Anna Schofield on her own tonight. It's Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
No, it's just Anna Schofield. Who keeps saying Big House? He's run away, he's left me. Through till 8 o'clock, it will just be me. He'll be back tomorrow, trumpeting his arrival. Lots to discuss with him. Until then, another hour of Yalla Home. I can hold it down, 4215, if you want to chat. Coming up in this hour, I'm going to be, you see, if I'm left alone, this is what's going to happen. If you're going to do it to me, then this is how the show goes. They have found, it's been revealed, secrets about the greater spotted eagles in the UAE. And do you know how they found out these details? Yes, correct. Satellite photographs. It's a very real thing. Apparently, we have more greater spotted eagles actually coming here and, nesting and doing their wild eagle thing than we thought. A lot more. So I'm going to be talking all about that. I also want to talk about how body language shapes your career. It's something that I am fully on board with. So I train children to do voiceovers. I even train adults to do voiceovers as well. And I've done it for years. And one of the things I always teach the children is about greeting the client. And that's nothing to do with working your voice. It's just about being a personable person, having a bit of charisma and charm, and making the client like you before you even step behind the microphone. It's really, really important. And it's all about body language and now they've got stats on it and everything. So let's talk about that. And lastly, Google launching new tools to help us plan travel during the pandemic. Yeah, apps are going to tell us everything. Whether we should be on the plane, not on the plane, who we're sitting next to, why we shouldn't do that, where we're staying, and everything else. The end. All coming up before 8 o'clock with me, Anna Schofield, here on Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home. Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big House.
Friend of the show, that's how it feels. Bit of Lewis Capaldi on Yalla Home tonight, 7:10. He was just such a lovely guy. Do you remember him playing in Sharjah? It was pre-pandemic. We were all walking around freely without masks. Hass and I interviewed him on the stage. He was such a nice guy because we got to the Al Majaz. Amazing. The whole thing was amazing. Went to his sound check and everyone's just going around doing their things. There's always people being very, very busy. And I love being at sound checks. I love being anything backstage when it's all kicking off. It's just lovely to see it all. And there's a lovely vibey feeling because, of course, the show's the next night. And standing on his own by the drums was Lewis Capaldi, just like hanging out. There's no security or anything. I mean, he was safe because obviously there was security at the backstage perimeter. But even so, I just walked up to him and went, "Hi, I'm Anna," and he went, "Hi, I'm Lewis." Yeah. I kind of knew that. Very, very funny. Anyway, lovely guy. If you want to hear the interview, it is, of course, on podcast here at Pulse 95. You can find it. All right, let's talk about the greater spotted eagle in the UAE. Stay with me. Don't tune out because this is very important. So, greater spotted eagles are being tracked by teams here in the Emirates. And they've actually suggested that there's 2 separate populations that may actually visit each year. This is a big deal. Remember that pretty much the human race has been killing off animal species for the last 300-400 years. So when we discover that we've actually got more than we thought we have, I think it's important to give everyone a bit of a pat on the back. Every autumn, apparently, these birds of prey migrate from their breeding ground, which is southern Russia. Wowzers. And northern Kazakhstan, am I saying that right? I hope so. Over to Europe, through North Africa, they turn left at the Gulf, and sometimes beyond to the northeast of Africa. The Environment Agency here has been monitoring 6 greater spotted eagles over the past several years. One is known as 296, and he was tagged in 2015. Can't we call him something like Bernard? Why did he have to be 296? But anyway, 296 has provided Bernard has provided scientists with more than 4.5 years of data, and that's highly unusual. Most tags only last a couple of years. But of course, Bernard, he's been super good with it. The quote is, "Once you track a species for such a long time, you get some fantastic information," said Dr. Salim. And that's what they've been doing, and it's helped them to understand there's possibly this migratory divide. Upshot is that part of the population actually seems to turn right and come here. That's what they're basically saying, which I love. They split in 2 directions at the Caspian Sea. Not even kidding. Couldn't write this stuff. One goes east and one goes west. They go along the coast there. Bernard, bird 296, which is believed to be male, was tagged in a wetland reserve in 2015. Since then he's done, well, listen to his stats, 100,000 kilometres. He's visited 10 countries. Surely not now, because obviously travelling isn't permitted. but it's not known actually how far they travel in their whole lifetime, which is obviously scientists wanting to know all the different pieces. And they want to understand all the different resting sites and migratory routes and da-da-da-da. But they always return to the UAE for the winter. Why wouldn't you? Like any good person who's ever been here, you would return for the winter. So they start in mid or late September, and by the third week of October, they are here in the UAE. And this is what they found. We've got two more species than we thought we had right here. And the satellite has been keeping track and has photographs of it. Amazing. This is why you need me to do the show on my own every now and then. You see, I give you the hot info on the animals of the region. Anna Schofield, Yalla Home, it's Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home. Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
Anna Schofield, just Anna Schofield for the next 40 minutes. Big Hass back tomorrow. Big and bold and ready for action. Let's talk about, on Yalla Home now, how body language shapes your career. I saw this trending today and I thought, yes, I want to talk about this because I'm a huge believer in it. And it's something that I use in my training. So aside from working here, which is obviously my main priority and my joy, I love it here at Pulse 95, I also train. I train people in voiceovers, not random things, just voiceovers. But one of the things I've learned as a voiceover artist over the years is that one of the skills I think that's really important and applicable, etc., is being able to talk to the client. So a lot of my voiceovers, you can do voiceovers on email now. Everyone is throwing audio all over the place. Obviously, that's a given. However, a lot of the voiceovers I do are for this region. And obviously, Hass always mentions it. I'm the global voice of Emirates. But what that means, you know, as a client, they dictate what they want. And quite often they want to be in the studio with you because what we're recording is very important. And it's probably going out, or it could be going out to up to 150 different airports, or it could be going out to different kind of continents around the world. So the tone that they set is crucial. And also, if you've got people calling their phone system, which they explained to me very early doors, 80% of the people that phone their system, probably English isn't their first language, and secondly, they might be there to complain. If that's the case, they don't want someone sounding bad because it'll actually make that person worse. So if you're having a trouble with a flight, you do want to be greeted by a smiley, friendly voice. Now, part of my job is obviously trying to nail the tone that they want and trying to be the voice that they want. That is my job as a voiceover artist. But also, if I walk in and I'm grumpy and I don't look at them, I don't shake hands. Obviously, now we're in a pandemic, so it's slightly different. But let's pretend we're not all wearing masks. Standard procedure is to say hello first and then talk to them about what they want, not just walk into the booth and stand there like a lemon. It's really, really important. So when I started training children and adults, and it was a good 10 years ago, even the adults, I would make sure that I had a section on being nice to the client. And I called it that. And it obviously gets a laugh. What's being nice to the client? It's making sure that you're listening to what they're saying to you. Everything about you needs to say, hello, what can I do? How can I make this work for you? Not that I'm going to be awkward, that I'm going to be a princess, that I don't agree with your script, that I'm going to be grumpy. Any of those things can be off-putting. It's really, really important that everything about you says, hi, okay, I can do this. What do you need? I've got you. I'm going to make this an enjoyable experience. And that's also really key. Now, a lot of this is down, I think, to body language. So I will teach children. I can't really say to an adult, oi, look me in the eye. But I do to children. I'll say, make sure you look at the client and make sure you shake their hand and always smile. With children, it's easy to say, always smile. And sometimes the kitchen would be, okay, the kids would say, really, and it's really important to smile. If you're not smiling, you look grumpy, and then they might think you don't want to be there. That's about teaching body language. So let's cut to the study that has been released today and it's trending. You might have already seen it. Really, really interesting. They've got results from a study by an eminent psychologist, Dr. Albert. Now, I'm giving this a stab. And as a voiceover artist, I will try my hardest. Dr. Albert Mehrabian, I think. He's suggested that up to 93%, hold on to that figure, 93% of what you communicate to an interviewer comes from your body language. That means that only 7% of his decision-making is based on anything that comes out of your mouth. Doesn't matter what you're saying, he doesn't care. Apparently, a trainer of the Fortune 50 chief executives, his name is Mark Bowden, and he's written a book called Winning Body Language. He says, if what you say doesn't match your body language, your audience is more likely to believe your body. Okay, so if you're saying, I really want to work here, but everything about you, because you look miserable, you're looking down, you're slumped over, everything says you couldn't be more bored and you want to get out, people believe that. They don't believe the words that you're saying. So as a result, it's really, really important that your body language not only matches what you say, but also endorses what you say. And this is why I'm a believer in it. I've been in voiceover sessions where I've walked in, I've looked at the script isn't good, the script doesn't suit my voice, I know it's going to be difficult, not recently and not here actually, this is in London, but I've known, okay, but that doesn't mean that I walk in and go, right, let's do this. You know, I will walk in and everything about me says, I can do this, I can sell it, I can do this voice for you, even though you'd like a 7-year-old Chinese child. You know, it's one of those things. I think it's really important. And so please bear in mind, look it up. And certainly if you're a parent, it's really important to tell children this, especially teenagers. Teenagers have a habit of wanting to disconnect, certainly with their eyes, or they don't want to chat, and they have to learn to sit up straight. Apparently, you're much more likely to be viewed as having a strong leadership skill if you sit up straight. You might just be tired, but sitting up straight is judged. It's really, really important. They also call them soft skills. So employers are now feeling that soft skills are vitally important, and body language is one of these soft skills. Can you talk to people in a lovely way? Are people drawn to you? Do people want to listen to you? Do you look like you'd rather those people weren't in the room? It's all body language. So find the article because you will love it, and absolutely read it. And in the time of a pandemic, when there are more people looking for a job than ever before globally, so many people have lost their jobs. We are all swimming around in the market right now. The time has never been more competitive. So it's time to brush up on your sitting up straight, looking lively, big smile. Can't shake hands, obviously, but you can do a nice joke when you do it, or an elbow, or a tap on the foot, the Wuhan shake, whatever you want to do. You can do all of those things, and you can do it with a smile, and your eyes smile as well as your lips. I'm just saying. Nearly at 7:30. Keep it here. It's Anna Schofield and Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home.
Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
Actually, just Anna Schofield. I'm here for the next 10-15 minutes. Nice having you with me. It's Yalla Home, of course, on Pulse 95. I sound like I've forgotten it. It's not, because I'm reading. So this is really interesting. Google has launched new tools to help users plan travel during the pandemic. And of course, one of the number one searches now is destinations that are COVID-free, or places we can holiday that won't give us COVID-19. All those sorts of things. And because people want to access information on all that sort of flight availability, hotel, properties with free cancellation policies, apparently that's a biggie. So Google's basically launched this new set of tools to give you up-to-date travel information. They've started with the United States and the UK, but what they're going to do is next week and in the coming weeks they're going to add new markets, so it'll be everywhere. As countries start to reopen, they're seeing more searches for all of the different sort of destinations and travel-related information. So what they're doing is automatically supplying this information on various forms, but they want you to have extra tools to be able to get to it quickly. They recently introduced driving alerts to notify you about COVID-19 checkpoints and restrictions along your route. That's in Google Maps, apparently. Amazing. And as restrictions and advisories begin to lift, they're adding new information about that, travel resuming, specific destinations. They're going to do it all. It's just quite amazing, isn't it, how more and more valuable the phone has become. And we literally rely on it for everything. I've got friends that now don't leave the house without Google Maps on, telling them where to go, even though they do the same journey to work every day and don't need it. And one of my friends said, oh yes, just a security blanket. She said, I don't like it when it's not on. I couldn't have that in the car. That would drive me crazy. Turn right. It'd be like, shush, I'm trying to speak to someone. But that is the situation. That's where we're going now. We just use our phone literally for everything. Who actually, hands up, who uses the sat nav in the car? The car's sat nav. No one uses it anymore. We all use Google Maps from our phones. Just saying. So this is going to be the new thing. Google is putting the searches in for us. The tools will be there. And we're literally going to have the information at our fingertips. No matter where, no matter when, and no matter how, they will be able to tell us. And that, as they say, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. I'm going to take it from here. Hope you've had a lovely evening. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Tomorrow we'll be back from 5 p.m. Big Hass will be back. We'll be together live through till 8 o'clock again, doing the whole thing again, but with more oomph and hip-hop edge, because BH will be back. Hope you have a nice evening. Speak to you tomorrow. I can't sign off like Hass. I'm just going to go, bye.
The heart of Sharjah.
This is Pulse 95.
Heart of Sharjah.